Hi, so this is a video reference for the developers of Blender 2.8. This is in regards to the suggestions that I posted on the forum. Starting off with number 1, inside Blender, if I switch to edit mode and I do a box select on my components, it works fine. This is what I get. Okay. Now if I switch to, I load up the move gizmos, sure it works fine. But now if I want to select new components, I can't. I have to hit B on my keyboard and it only adds to my selection. So this is counterintuitive, and the only way for me to deselect is to do Alt A, which is not it slows down the process, and now I have to hit B again to make a new selection. I can't even use B to deselect, so which is ridiculous in my opinion. It's counterintuitive. You need the box select to stay on the entire time, and that way I'm only working with my right hand on my mouse. And currently, so the only alternative I see is to bring up the box select here to select the components, and then hit G, and then hit G again, hit G again, hit G again. So it's less intuitive this way. Okay, so what I'm proposing is this. Here, I'm gonna start fresh. What I'm proposing is this. If I switch to vertex mode, okay, and I do a box select, I bring up my translate gizmo. Hang on, this is how it is by default, okay? I can manipulate my components, and then when I'm done editing, I just do, without hitting anything on my keyboard, I just do another box drag to make a new selection. I edit those, and then I make a new selection without touching anything on my keyboard. And it's that intuitive, that's how it should be, okay? And if I want to add, I just do hit Control or Shift. If I want to deselect, I hit Control, and that way I'm just editing on the fly. And if I do a right click, I can switch between global, local, etc. And once I'm done, I just hit spacebar to go back into component mode, into object mode, and that's it. And that's how it should be. The other method which exists inside XSI, which speeds up the modeling workflow, is, so say I go back to vertex mode and I disable this method and I bring up the gizmos. You see, I don't have to click anywhere on the gizmos. I can just manipulate them. If you look down here, you can see the context. I can manipulate using the left middle mouse and right click on the fly, and I can click anywhere on the viewport. See, right now I'm clicking left, middle mouse, and right click for the Z axis. See, in this case, I do have to click on T, which is the shortcut for the vertex, every time I want to make a new selection, and that's fine for this type. for this method of modeling. At least that it's a nice lazy way to, and efficient and lazy way to do your modeling, and it gets the job done really quick. You're not thinking, like you're just doing everything on the fly. Another thing I wanted to point out, so I'm just going to middle click to my last function. So inside Blender, if you were to delete a face, you don't get any seams, and when the model is complex, it's not immediately obvious that there is a gap over here. It's not immediately noticeable. It's so whereas in XSI, if I delete the face, you see these clear highlights, and your eyes pick them up immediately, and this is how it should be. This speeds up the modeling. Sorry, not necessarily speeds up, but it makes things more obvious while you're modeling, and you don't have to go in and scrutinize and inspect it. Like you don't have to spend so much time inspecting it to make sure that everything has been sealed. So this is something that's nice to have. Another thing with XSI is when I apply a smooth subdivision, so I'm going to hit ++ on my numeric keyboard, you can see it is immediately applied to my geometry, and I can edit them. I can do my editing directly on the fly, and I don't have to worry about digging into the modifier and turning on the last icon. So if I can go in and apply it, see, I don't have to worry about doing this. It's already available to me right out of the box, and this is how it should be. It's the point behind this is to make things immediately available to the user. Another thing I wanted to point out is, so I'm going to remove the smooth subdivision. I'm going to go back to object mode. Now from here, if I use the shortcut keys Control-1 or Control-2, say, it can be applied using the shortcut keys. But I'm gonna go to edit mode. I'm going to remove this. Now, while in edit mode, if I try to hit Control-1 or Control-2 and I try to apply the subdivision from my keyboard, it doesn't work. See, I'm hitting Control-2, it doesn't happen. But so this is a limitation from the, clearly it is a limitation from the developer's end, I think so, because while I'm in edit mode, I can still apply it manually and it works fine. So this is something that needs to be pointed, that needs to be dealt with. And what else? Yeah, for the, so I'm gonna exit this. I'm gonna turn on the knife mode. Oh, need to be in edit mode. So the knife tool works fine, but when I want to exit the tool, I have to hit enter, and which is fine, but it could be improved, in my opinion. So because right now, if I want to continue adding points, I had to turn the knife tool on again, which is counterintuitive. It's not that big of a deal, but it's again, you want to make the life of the end user easier, as easy as possible. So if I do a right click, everything goes back to 0, which is not really necessary if you have Control Z, you know. And by doing Control Z, the entire tool just the entire modification just disappears with one click. It's I don't know. Like I think things could be better. See, in XSI, if I turn on the same tool, I just do a right click to end the process, and the tool is still on, so I can click anywhere else and I can continue adding points. Okay, and I just hit right click again to end it, and it's working fine. I just hit spacebar to exit the tool, and just give me a second. And if I hit undo, you see it deletes the points one by one. Like it doesn't get rid of the task entirely, and which is nice. It's nice to have. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you take these points into consideration, and if I come across anything else in the future, I will let you know. You've been doing a really amazing job with Blender 2.8. I will definitely be jumping the wagon soon, just not right away. I've been testing out various different 3D applications from Maya, which is very unstable, and 3D Max, Cinema 4D, Modo, and I always find myself going back to XSI just because it is the most stable 3D application out there. It is more intuitive than most applications that I've seen, and yeah, it's a shame that it has been discontinued. So I'm hoping that you can bring in the positive aspects of XSI into Blender, and to start off a new era, a new generation in the 3D animation industry. Thank you again very much for listening, and I hope to be in touch soon. Take care.